Welcome everybody to the Alf the Label webinar today. Thank you everybody for coming. I'm so excited to introduce Sophie and Luke from Alf the Label. Welcome guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
So if anybody has any questions today, please pop them in the Q&A box. Sophie and Luke will be doing a short presentation before we get into formal proceedings, and they'll be able to answer any questions you have just afterwards. I'll let you guys take it away.
Thank you so much, Emily. I'll just share my screen. There we go. Can you see that okay?
Right.
Yep. Okay, perfect.
Well, Kaya everyone, that's Nunga for hello. I'd just also like to acknowledge Wallyalla as the lands upon which we're located in Fremantle, Perth, of the Wurundjeri people from the Noongar Nation. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. We've got here a picture of our building down in Fremantle, which is quite an iconic local building. We've just got some restoration works going around the city of Fremantle. Popular building and often visited for photo shoots, but we've also got a strong connection to the port city of Fremantle. So all our staff are located within a close drive to Fremantle, and it's a really lovely location that Sophie and I have sort of grown up and been around for many, many years. So there's a real connection to where our office is located.
Cool. So
yeah, so we've got a short little clip to take you on a bit of a journey over the last few years that the next slide will jump into, and then we'll jump into a bit more of the background with Sophie in a minute.
6 years ago, I started a little brand called Alf. My husband and I packed orders in our lounge room until midnight most nights. I designed bags to make mums feel beautiful, but with all the functionality they needed as a parent. Lots of mums started to notice us, and we grew really fast. Now we have a team of 7, and we've launched more than 200 SKUs and sold more than $3.3 million worth of Alf bags to parents in 26 countries. We are ready to scale, and expressions of interest open now on the Birchal platform to invest in Alf, and I would love your support.
So that was just a little kind of timeline of the evolution of the brand. I started Alf when I was pregnant with my daughter Ari, who is going to turn, she'll be 7 actually in October this year. And really the reason that I started the brand in the first place was because I couldn't find a baby bag which suited my own style. So when you become a parent, you know, I think prior to becoming a parent, you spend a lot of your early 20s and, you know, establishing yourself and your own style and your own persona. And I had a really amazing career before I had children and things like that. And I wasn't willing to give any of that up. And so the items that were on the market at the time were, you know, for lack of a better word, fairly ugly, and I sort of just didn't really resonate with me. So I spent some time designing what I wanted in a bag that was going to carry all of the things that I needed as a parent. And essentially I had a bag made, and I had lots of comments and questions from other mums saying, where did you get that? You know, I'd like to buy one. Where did you get it? Can you send me the shop? And I was like, oh, actually I had it made myself. And so sort of over time I thought, well, maybe this could actually become a little business. And I've always been very open about this. I originally thought that this was going to be a hobby, and that I would just have a few made, which sounds crazy now looking back on it, but I thought I'd have a few made and just sell them to people that I knew, and that would kind of be where it went. And as soon as I launched, all of a sudden we kind of just exploded, and I realized very, very quickly that other mums were looking for something that made them feel beautiful, but also gave them all the practicalities that they needed as a parent as well. And so it just started from there. So essentially sort of our why really is to make parents and mothers mainly obviously feel amazing when they've had no sleep, they're deep in the trenches of having a newborn, and many other things can seem chaotic. And so if you've got that one piece of your bag that you know that is really organized, it's got everything that you need, you know that if your child is screaming that you can grab that item really, really quickly, and you know exactly where it is, then that sort of, that's the reason that I produce the products that I do. And so, we use this line, effortless style, essential practicality, for the very reason that prior to ALF coming on the market, there was a lot of things that were very practical, but they weren't really stylish. So we've really filled that gap in the market there. I'm really as well proud to be able to support the slow fashion movement. There's, we use factories and manufacturers that we've known for a number of years. I've been to our factory for our main supplier before, and I'm very confident that where we're producing our goods is, is ethical. And we also, in terms of the slow fashion, it takes a really long time to produce our products. We definitely do not churn through them like a fast fashion brand. You'll see if you've been a customer of ALF for a number of years that we don't release products so quickly like a seasonal type brand. So that's always been really important to me, is to put time and effort into the products and then produce them well, so that they do last for your entire motherhood journey and beyond. And then as well, we wear test everything with parents. I think something that I've noticed in the market as well is that brands won't necessarily really talk to their customer and find out exactly what their customer needs, whereas as a parent, you have really specific needs. You can't just have a bag that is just a big open space, because you'll just never find anything, and it might not fit the right things, and there'll be, you have odd shaped objects that you need to take with you. So we spend a really long time designing each of the products, and each detail is really thoughtfully laid out in the product, so that, it really makes sense to a parent. And then we get samples and we actually wear test them with our friends who are parents and our staff who are parents too. One of the probably most iconic things about ALF is that we produce these bags that people call like a Mary Poppins bag. You can fit so many things into them, but they sort of looked compact on the outside. So I thought I'd just show you a quick video. One of our most popular videos on like our digital channels, really, to show sort of how much fits into these products and how they're different from a regular handbag.
And this is a great way. Obviously, we're a purely e-com store or brand. So one difficult thing is getting our customers to sort of get an understanding of the look and feel and the functionality of the bag. So this next clip is a great way of, while we don't have any stockists where people can come into a physical brick and mortar store, they are able to be able to sort of see the Mary Poppins aspects of the bags on the social channels. So. Yeah,
so I'll just show you a quick little video and then we'll continue on with the presentation.
I've never seen a bag that can fit this much. I'm working all week long.
So as you can see, it really does come down to the design and being able to fit so many of your parenting necessities in there, but not making it look like this sort of big, bulky, ugly item that you're carrying around. We wanted to talk a little bit about our sustainability and our charity partnerships, because this is something that I am really, really passionate about, and as is Luke. So did you want to speak to this slide?
Yeah, I'm happy to chat to this slide. So sustainability and charity partnerships, we've got a few things on the sustainability side that we've really focused on since starting the brand, and even some of our products that we've bought in support our commitment to sustainability. So we've had keep cups so that we can encourage parents to sort of use reusable coffee cups while they're out and about. We've got our everything bags, which are quite a sort of iconic spotty everything bag that people either use for the park or for swimming lessons or for food shopping. And we've sold over 3,000 of those. And then also we've always had a very strong connection with charity partnerships. So over the years, we've partnered with Bears of Hope for pregnancy and infant loss support, and I Equals Change. We also led and supported the food bank donation drive to support the bushfires a couple of years ago. So we were a drop-off point that other families and customers could come to our warehouse and do a donation. We donated over 1,600 kilos worth of produce for food bank during the bushfires, which was really great to see the community come together. And then our latest partnership is with Dress for Success. And this is a really exciting one for us because Dress for Success are global. They support at-risk women get back into the workforce with styling, employment support, resume support. And we've got a couple of partnerships with them. So a donation from each sale goes, a portion of sales go to Dress for Success. But we've also partnered with them on our ALF Exchange, which is a program that we kicked off last year. And it's great to know that we've donated 30 bags to them since we've started. And it's where any customer, and it doesn't have to be an ALF bag, it can be any sort of bag that they want to donate. They reach out to us in the ALF Exchange and they provide donate the bag back, and they get a gift voucher to purchase a new bag with us at ALF. And then we take those bags to Dress for Success, and they're able to, with the slow fashion movement and sort of circular economy, able to then give that bag a new lease of life and sort of donate it to someone who's getting back into the workforce, which is really fantastic to see come to fruition. So it was a work in progress last year, and it's so great to see it sort of going from strength to strength this year. So the Dress for Success partnership's working really well. There's affiliates in each of the major cities. So we obviously work really closely with our local one here in Perth, but then with our donations, we work with the head office out of Sydney, and they're able to distribute the funds of our donations to the local affiliate offices. Obviously, over 80% of our customers are on the East Coast. So it's really good to know that the donations on behalf of customers on the East Coast is actually going to their local offices, whether it's Brisbane, Sydney or Melbourne. And going forward, looking internationally, Dress for Success is sort of all through the States and through Europe. So we're going to be able to continue that partnership, and it's going to have an impact on the ground in the communities wherever our customer is globally, which is really a fantastic thing for us, because that way we can really sort of strengthen that partnership over the coming years.
Great.
So a bit about our team. It definitely has grown over the last 4 or 5 years. So Sophie and myself, I've previously worked in the public sector and have been working with ALF for the last year now. And the team had grown from when we were based at home out of our sort of spare bedroom and dining room, and we had a couple of staff, and then we realised we needed to move to a warehouse and office space in Perth. And then just prior to COVID kicking off, we sort of moved our office location down here to Fremantle to allow our team to grow more and for our dispatch to head out of Sydney. So we dispatch our products out of Sydney, which is improving the
time to get to customers, the last mile shipping.
Yes.
It really has improved that, because coming from Perth, if you're watching from Perth, you'll probably appreciate this, but post takes forever to get across the Nullarbor. So being able to ship all of our products from Sydney has just made the last mile delivery so much quicker. And also in terms of carbon footprint, you think if we're bringing our product in from our factory in a container and we're getting it to Sydney and it goes straight to the warehouse, which is literally across the road from the port, then it's not coming all the way to Perth, and then there's lots of different sort of lengthy air flights to get to the customers. So we've managed to reduce our carbon footprint in that sense as well, dramatically, yeah. And
it's the turnaround time for the customer. It's gone from a couple of weeks coming from Perth to a couple of days from over east. Yeah. So we've got a team of 7 now. So we've got Bree and Catherine in marketing, Hayley in production, Kim in customer service, and Jess in operations. And then we've got a couple of key advisors. We've got Marty on the call with us today. Thanks for joining us, Marty, who is sort of our accounting advisor.
Guru, yeah.
And then we've also got Joe, who has a wealth of experience in the retail and fashion space, and has really provided a lot of strategic support and advice over the last couple of years, especially where we've going through this extremely big period of growth where we're investing a lot into the back-end systems and processes, which we'll talk to in a bit further, getting us ready to scale. So.
And in terms of my experience, I am a marketer by trade. So I studied communications at a university here in Western Australia, and I had a career in marketing, very happy career in marketing and PR prior to starting ALF. Actually, I started ALF really when I was on maternity leave with our first child. We've got 2 children now. And I managed to juggle it part-time. So I was working for my corporate job part-time and then doing ALF sort of in the evenings, really. We were packing orders until midnight, like you saw in that video, for a couple of years until I managed to take a redundancy from a position that I was in when I had our second child. And that's when I decided that I wanted to put all my energy into ALF because I could see the potential of it growing quite quickly. So really it was myself and Luke to begin with, and then as soon as I'd taken the redundancy and realised how much work was ahead of me, I thought, okay, I'm going to need some more help here, and we managed to bring on a couple of people part-time to help us, like Luke said, at our home to begin with, and then we very quickly outgrew that space and moved into the warehouse and then now to Fremantle. So my background really is on the marketing side. However, obviously in the last 6 years, almost 6 years now, I've really had to upskill myself and become a CEO, which has been a really empowering process, and one that I think that I'm doing all right at now. But it's been a really amazing evolution of the brand so far.
And just before we move on, I think one key thing that Sophie just touched on was we're really fortunate to have a really high performing team. And while most of us work part-time, Sophie obviously full-time CEO 24/7, but a number of our staff do work part-time, and that's something that we're really proud on supporting because a lot of women in our team are returning to the workforce. So getting that family work juggle is often quite hard in the big corporate sector or government sector, where that flexibility of being able to choose to fit around school pickups or days where you do have daycare support or don't is something that we really work hard to make sure we set up each year, so that way this year we had to change the work days slightly to suit a different day of schooling for one of our staff members and things like that. So that's one aspect that's working really well for us. But we do know that going forward, as we scale further, we're going to have to grow the team further. So looking forward to welcoming
new people. Okay.
So the growth over the last, since inception has been quite amazing. So we've done $3.3 million in sales since to date, and it's grown year on year. We turned a profit in the first 4 years, which is really quite amazing for a startup brand. And each sort of those years, with the increased revenue and profits, we were reinvesting straight back into the business. So buying deeper in products that we knew were selling, growing our assortment further. So we've grown from originally launching with the one style of bag to now having launched over 200 product SKUs since our inception. We've sold 26,000 products worldwide to over 26 countries. And seen 916% growth. So it's really been quite exciting to see the evolution. And now sort of in the last 12 months, we've been really investing in the back end of the business. So we've been updating our inventory management systems, working really closely with our 3PL provider over in Sydney, and getting all the processes in place so that we have the opportunity to grow at pace and scale, whereas previously we were reinvesting the profits back in and sort of building our product line. Now we've got the systems and processes in place to support us for this next phase of growth, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and in the last year, since we rebranded, more like a brand refresh really, the original look and feel of ALF is still retained in our new sort of elevated branding that you see here. but we felt that it was really time to really sort of polish ourselves up a little bit, so that because we knew that we were in this sort of major growth mode and we needed to start scaling quickly, and that we needed to be appealing to, you know, a wider range of customers and a wider range of retail stores that would want to stock our product. So in the last year, we have done a bit of a brand refresh. I also designed and launched 63 new products between September, October and December last year, which is phenomenal considering, you know, over the course of the nearly 6 years that we've been in business now, it was 200 in total, or including that, it's 200 in total that we'd launched the entire time. So we have had a very busy, well, almost a year now, I suppose. And the beauty of that is that we went really wide with our product line to see what categories and what products were working and what would work for our audience. And we were able to, and we were able to see what has worked and really hone in on what our best sellers are. And now we know that, we are reinvesting to start bringing depth into those lines, which is exciting.
Yeah, so as Sophie said, the rebrand happened, and the going wide on the assortment, it's really awesome to see that, like in March of this year, for instance, we sold 94 Aries in a week, which is our best-selling bag, which was incredible for us, and it sort of got us ordering the next shipment straight away, because it took off a lot quicker than what we had ever imagined in March. So that's the fantastic thing about the new elevated look and feel, is we've now got a sense of what our best sellers are. We've got some large orders already in the works, with production coming to a close in the next couple of weeks, so that way we know we can start buying depth in the styles that have been really popular since the rebrand. So we had a pop-up store, our first pop-up store in the December of 2017, in our first year of running. We've also flown across to Melbourne and done the One Fine Baby Expo in Melbourne in 2018. That was a really exciting moment for Soph and I. We launched one of the new colourways at that expo, and Soph was amazed that a number of customers travelled from far and wide to come to the expo to see the bags in the flesh before they were launched, which was really exciting to see. I've got up there the power of influencer posts are quite amazing. We had one influencer post one of our products on their stories in December 2019, and we sold 500 orders from that one post in 24 hours. So that just really shows the power of sort of social media and the benefits of a really good posting.
And the fact that our products really have, in the space that we're in, they are iconic to ALF now. You know, I think there's a lot of people that aspire to have our products and follow us and enjoy the journey and enjoy seeing a little bit behind the scenes about my life and the sort of evolution of the brand. Like Luke was saying about the One Fine Baby Expo, we had customers that we met in person there for the first time, which was amazing, because obviously we're from Perth and this was in Melbourne, a much bigger place. So lots of people who knew about us in the baby sort of category came and sort of introduced themselves, and that they still follow us now. And, you know, I often post things on social media about the kids and things like that. And, you know, they say, oh, I remember meeting you all at the One Fine Baby Expo. So we really have built this amazing community of customers who are more than just customers to us. They really are sort of they're our community. And we have a Facebook group, a private Facebook group that we, which we'll actually talk about in a moment, the ALF community, which we have this group of amazing people that follow along and really champion us. And we use that community to talk to about product ideas and colours that are coming, and get feedback and two-way communication, which I think is quite unique for a brand probably of our size, is that we still spend a lot of time really speaking to our customer to understand what the customer wants, which has been a really big factor in our success, I believe. So in terms of our following on sort of our digital channels. We've got 50,000 followers on Instagram. We've got a really great email subscriber base who we regularly talk to. And then, like I said, the private Facebook community, which are those really sort of engaged customers, which is 1.5 thousand people. And I think that to us it's in terms of, along this process, we've had a lot of questions about why, in fact, we would run the raise through a CSF style capital raising round. And to me, it always came back to community. ALF was built on community from the very beginning. You know, I think when I first built the brand, I was looking for a mother's group of my own. I mean, you know, when you have a child, you feel a little bit isolated. And so building this community of people, even online, was really important to me. And so the Birchal style capital raising round was just made so much sense, because we're building another community of people who are really championing the brand going forward. So I think for us, that is just such an important you know, factor in our business. One of the most exciting things that's happened this year is that we did our first artist collaboration, first of many, artist collaboration with Morgan Jameson, who is a very well-known artist. She lives just out of Geelong in Victoria. And Morgan, it's a funny story, actually. She was originally a customer of ours a few years ago, and I, again, going back to that community thing, I'm chatting to people constantly online and came across her and thought, wow, your artwork is just stunning. And she's very well known across Victoria. She's sold through a number of galleries, and she became a customer, and then we sort of got chatting, and then eventually she's now we have done a collaboration together where a piece of her artwork called The Pods we printed on one of our leather pouches, which you can see in the picture there. And that has been so successful for us. You can see on the left side of the screen there, the carabiner capsule, which is a combination that that I designed, which is a wallet and a key ring and a pouch, which is actually, you use that to connect it to your pram, but you can use it as a beautiful bespoke handbag as well. But the Banksia pouch, that has outperformed all of the other colours in that category for us, which was really great to see. And going back to the community aspect, we actually worked with our community to decide which of Morgan's artworks we wanted to use for that collaboration, and they chose the Pods artwork that you can see there. And yeah, I think that's probably why it was so successful, is because our customers and our community really got involved, and you know, they were able to see the progression of that range coming to life. So one of our goals is to do more artist collaborations with products like that, because it's just really nice to see some sort of vibrancy within the range. Going through to, we've been really lucky, I suppose, in the past few years to have received quite a bit of media around what I'm doing in terms of building this brand, and we won some awards. I was a winner of the 40 Under 40 in 2021, which was amazing. So yeah, I think it's really a testament again to being so organic and how do you say it? Just I really put myself out there, and I think a lot of people are really noticing that. So we've had a lot of media in terms of the growth of the brand. I think
it's partly because people feel a genuine connection, because there's sort of, you're going through a similar journey to them, and you're going through different life stages of motherhood. So I think that really resonates with the customers, and being able to jump on socials at odd hours of in the evening and things like that, it allows the customer to really share the journey with us. Some of the coverage is been international as well. So interestingly enough, we had some coverage in Germany a couple of years ago, which was a little bit odd, but then all of a sudden we saw orders going off to Germany through an article that was posted. So it's really great to see the profile and sort of the coverage, being able to spread the word more and more.
So we've obviously got, did you want to talk about, we'll talk about what's next for the brand. As part of the raise, I think one of the most important things that we need to do is really get depth in the best-selling styles that we have. We have this great problem. I always call it a great problem because we've got the demand supply issue where we've got the demand, but we just cannot keep up with the supply of those products. So we need to buy deeper and deeper into those best-selling lines so that we're not out of stock for periods of time. This year particularly, we had been out of stock for with our top 5 styles. We've been out of stock for a period of time for all of those, which has been tricky. So we definitely need to bolster up our inventory so that we can really get those economies of scale. We're going to expand our product range into a lower cost vegan leather line because partly so that we can open ourselves up to another market altogether of, leather. The leather that we use is sustainable. It is a byproduct of the food industry to begin with, but not everybody loves leather. So we're going to release a vegan line so that we can appeal to a wider audience, and also so that we've got a better pricing architecture in terms of our products. Our best-selling bag is $429, and so the vegan leather range will sit much lower than that, which is really great. We need to grow our team, as Luke mentioned earlier, so that we can actually start reaching these international markets, which is obviously the overarching goal, is to be able to create a presence in an international market. We need to grow the team so that we've got the capacity to be able to do that and be able as well to further optimize our marketing. We need to spend a lot more on generating a new audience, and we don't ever seem to have a problem with people loving the brand when they find us, but obviously as a growing business, our ultimate challenge is to get in front of more and more people so that they can see the product and sort of connect with the brand. So we can do that through improved and optimized digital marketing.
Absolutely. So just a little bit about the investor rewards, and a lot of this detail, obviously there's a recording for the webinar that you can look back over, but it will be also outlined in our offer doc, which will be released next week. So we've staged the investor rewards so people can invest from as little as $250. And then it's scaled up with different rewards to complement that. So for instance, if you invest between $1,000 and $4,999, we're also doing a $100 online gift voucher annually for 2 years, and then a store-wide discount. And then that also scales up. If you invest $10,000 to $49,999, you actually get a $100 gift voucher annually for 5 years, for instance. So, and a 20% store-wide discount and a free gift. So we're really trying to provide a really good mix of rewards for people, no matter where they are coming in on the investor journey with us.
Right, and I think that was it. Emily,
Open
did you want
Q&As.
to?
Fantastic. That was great, guys. Thank you so much. It was super, super informative. If anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in the Q&A box. I've got actually a few questions for you as well. So I understand from what you said that your collections are really inspired by your current customers, in particular with your collaborations as well with the artists that we're getting on board, which are fantastic. Will you imagine that your shareholders will be able to influence your collections going forward?
Yeah, so part of being a shareholder will add those people to the ALF community, obviously, if they want to be part of that group. And so, yes, absolutely. I mean, it's so important for me. I'm only one person and I'm only one mother, and I'm at a certain life stage. So, I've often joked and said, I've forgotten what it's like to have a newborn now, because for me, our youngest is 4 years old. So it's always really important for me to be able to take feedback from parents who are at particular life stages. And I love to be able to do that. Obviously it's not going to come down to, people making the overarching decisions in terms of what the bag kind of looks and feels like, but absolutely in terms of the detail, I want to get as many people as I can involved to be able to sort of tell me what they need out of that product, because otherwise, what use is it to someone if it doesn't actually function as you need it to?
And that, building on that, it's also the functionality of the bag. So a lot of ours are convertible backpacks so that it can take women through different stages of their journey. And like this year, we've launched the Dana Back to Work collection. So that's obviously now moving into a new market of sort of women returning to work and might want a new work bag, and also for women who aren't parents yet. So absolutely having that involvement on sort of developing new products.
Yeah, we have the worker collection was really inspired by my personal life stage, because a lot of the women who had purchased a baby bag from us very early on obviously have children the same age as ours now. So we all kind of moved, from needing the newborn type products to needing the toddler products, and then a lot of us now are going back to work, or the work is our focus. So that collection was really inspired by all of those women who've come along the journey and are going back to work and needed something that was just for them. Although saying that, we have had feedback from women who have bought the Dana tote, which, do I have one here? I do actually. The one that I use, which is this bag here, who are using it as a baby bag anyway, because they just love the style of it. So I think with all of our products, they're very transferable.
Absolutely.
But obviously designed to really optimize that particular life stage.
Yeah, I think the versatility really shines through. So it's such a great design element for you guys.
Thanks.
So in terms of defensibility of your product, do you find a lot of your products are copied, or do you have any protection around those?
So this is a question that I've toyed with for a long time. So we did see some of our products being copied in Bali a few years ago in the markets there, which I suppose you can kind of think about it two ways. You sort of think, all right, well, maybe I'm the Chanel of baby bags now, because there's fakes out there. You can kind of take it as a form of flattery, but at the end of the day, we do evolve our products each season. So the products that you saw 5.5 years ago are not the products that you see on our site now, because we've improved the designs. We've taken feedback on from customers again, and we've made tweaks and things like that. So the defensibility is around the evolution of the products and being able to just be that one step ahead in terms of the materials used as well. I think we're using specific high quality materials. We customize our hardware. It's quite difficult to duplicate that unless you're doing at a very, very mass scale, I suppose.
Yeah, brilliant. And in terms of your products, where are they currently made?
Yeah, they're made in China, in South China, in the Guangzhou district. And like I mentioned before, I've actually been to one of the big factories there. And yeah, the reason that we chose China, actually, people often ask me why do you produce in China? China have a very, very good reputation for very high quality leather goods, because they've got the technologies and the workforce and the artisans there to actually be able to produce a very high quality product. They also have access to really good tanneries and hardware manufacturers. You'll find most of the hardware around the world, regardless of where the bag is actually assembled, will come from electroplaters in China. So we had tried to have products made in Indonesia originally, and that was a bit of a flop, because just the way that it kind of panned out the quality was not great. So I actually strategically chose China for that reason, because I know that the way that they work and the throughput that those factories can provide at a high quality scale is really good. Saying that though, we are looking to diversify into other regions to make sure that going forward that we don't have all of our products made in the one location, and that we can make orders from factories in other countries to be able to sort of to just diffuse risk really.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I know that you mentioned that you already have a product range of 200 products. How quickly are you intending to expand your range?
So the 200 products, when we refer to 200 products, that's 200 products that we've launched since inception. Many of those have been discontinued or moved on, or they were seasonal colours. So I think at the moment we've got
over 100 SKUs.
We've got about 100 SKUs live online at the moment. Nice. So, you know, that's obviously like our current season offering. In terms of diversifying the categories in general, we're looking into other categories as well, including apparel, jewellery, other sort of complementary products to be able to support and also encourage return custom to the site as well. And again, going back to the way that I design the bags, is that anything that we move into, it's going to be a considered category for us. It'll make sense to our customer. It'll be something that our customers actually want. And in terms of the bags that we've got online at the moment, like I mentioned before, we're looking at vegan products. We're just about to press go on ordering those actually, which is really exciting.
Awesome. What do you see the key benefits being for customers who might be considering becoming an investor in Alpha Label?
Really, it comes down to community. I think being able to share the journey with us is really important. And unlike, you know, perhaps when you purchase shares just in a sort of a faceless brand, this is your opportunity to really be able to feel like you're a part of something. And we want our investors to be a part of it as well, like our community. You know, certainly I spend a lot of time of my day, you know, interacting with the people that follow us along the journey already. So I think they could probably attest to that.
Yeah, and I think it's just being able to share the success as well, because we've had a lot of family, friends and sort of customers go, oh my God, you guys have, it's incredible to see the growth and the journey that you've gone on so far in 5-6 years. We want to be able to offer that and allow our customers and family and friends and anyone who wants to invest with us to share that success and that exciting journey with us, because we know we've tested it and we've seen the success here in Australia. And you think of Australia's population of 25 million, that's literally one city in the US alone sort of thing. So the opportunities further afield is what's really exciting for us. We've started to break out into New Zealand a bit more, but they're so close to us, they're almost another state for Australia. But looking at international markets and growing our wholesale presence as well. One thing that I didn't get to chat to earlier is we launched our wholesale partnerships this year. So we're still 95% based e-com on our own site. But this year we launched on the Iconic in April and launched with our first wholesale partner, the Memo. So going forward with the funds from the raise, we're looking at growing our wholesale partnerships more as well, so that way it can really complement our online store presence, but that will also complement moving internationally.
Awesome. In terms of communicating with your investors going forward, how do you envision that?
Obviously through the share registry site, which you would be a part of, is probably the most formal channel of communication. In terms of the sort of day-to-day general communications, you know, it would be the ALF community on Facebook, which is a really great channel for us. And in terms of we're doing quarterly updates, definitely more of the sort of behind the scenes. You know, I think there's so many things that happen within our brand that even our customers, you know, things are moving so quickly that our customers don't need that level of detail every day. But obviously from an investor point of view, they want to be able to see and share in sort of those little mini wins that we have. You know, we've signed on some new wholesalers, you know, we've, you know, seen success here. So being able to update those investors quarterly through email is going to be really important for us. But yeah, in terms of two-way communication, there's many channels that we'll be able to communicate on.
Yeah, awesome. I know you mentioned that you're going to be expanding into overseas markets. Which is the first market that you want to actually get into?
So I think prior to being able to commit to that, we need to do a certain amount of R&D to be able to make sure that we're not just deciding on something that sounds good. At the moment, our next most popular outside of Australia, then obviously it's New Zealand. but then after that, the US is our next largest customer base, but it's closely followed by the UK and Europe, because as Luke mentioned previously, we've got a group of customers that that are from Germany who are following along with the brand. And we've also won quite a major design award in the baby category in the UK as well. So it will certainly be one of either the US or Europe, UK area. But prior to being able to actually obviously confirm that, we want to make sure that we're logistically going to be able to easily ship to those countries, whether there's distributors that we need to engage to be able to manage that sort of growth in those markets, whether it's, it's meeting with wholesalers and things like that. So yeah, but certainly there's a lot of opportunity. And then I think much longer term, in terms of sort of 5-year plan, I think we've got a big opportunity with the Asian market, who love accessories and Australian brands. We do actually, in fact, our first international order was from a mum in China, which is quite funny. Certainly sort of Singapore, Malaysia, those sorts of markets are quite close to Australia. They understand Australian style and Australian aesthetic and products. But I think firstly, we need to test a market that's bigger than Australia, but not as large as say, the Asian market, so that we can, progress without getting out of our depth.
So post-raise, what do the next 12 months look like for you?
Post-raise, we will, as I mentioned before, be getting depth in the styles that we know that we can sell very easily. Sort of, the Ari bag, for instance, that is a really, really amazing seller for us. So being able to really pump the depth into those and releasing that vegan line to be able to diversify in the materials space.
That's really going to increase our market share and give a larger customer base an opportunity to sort of buy into the brand that they may have aspired and wanted to buy an Ari or a sort of an original Alf bag. So that alone is going to be a really pivotal point. Also growing our wholesale arm of things over the next 12 months. We're starting to see the momentum from the launches in April already sort of come to fruition now, but that will continue to grow. And obviously that will also need some resourcing within the team once we start reaching capacity in other aspects of the business. So, and then ramping up the marketing and the ad spend to ensure that we can continue to sell through. I suppose Sophie has explained that, being out of stock of our 5 best sellers through periods of time is really tricky, especially when you're trying to broaden your reach with ad spend and the like, and then having no stock to be able to sell it, whereas now we'll be able to buy depth in the stock and then hammer down on the marketing to know that we've got confidence to continue to sell through and get ahead of our orders now into the future.
And lastly, what do you see as being the biggest risks that you guys might face as a brand?
The biggest risks? I mean, I suppose obviously pandemics are a big risk for any brand at the moment. In fact, COVID has been really interesting for us. At the very, very beginning of the pandemic in 2020, we were still warehoused in Perth, actually. And I think it was within a fortnight of, things in the news starting to ramp up and people starting to panic, we actually made the very, very quick and gutsy move to ship our entire warehouse from Perth and box everything up and send it to Sydney into a shared warehouse over there. So that was mainly so that we could make sure that we were managing the capacity to be able to send out orders, because obviously for us, if we can't send out orders, that is a very, very large problem. So we made sure that wasn't laying just purely on the one person that was packing orders for us at that time. So we managed to sort of get all of our stock over to Sydney, and now we're in a warehouse where there's many staff and they can AB shift when there's COVID issues in the warehouse and things like that, like a lot of other bigger brands, which was amazing. In terms of other risks? I suppose the risks are that we have a small team at the moment and our capacity to be able to do that. So we're obviously mitigating that by making sure that we're going to employ more people to be able to roll out our huge growth plans.
And like any brand that imports any goods, the supply chain risk with freight at the moment, any brand who imports anything, that's a big risk because you're at the mercy of the shipping lines. So you can plan to have something coming in on a certain date and then the ships slow down, or they arrive in port and then they're unable to get unloaded, sort of thing. So that's a bit of a risk, but one thing that we do to manage that, which is really great feedback from our customers, but also other brands, is whenever we do a pre-order, we do a bit of a timeline and a tracking of our pre-orders, so that way customers can jump on the website and they can say, okay, well, the ship's left, it's en route, it's up near Queensland, sort of thing. That means it's getting closer to Sydney, so that way it really empowers the customer to be able to sort of track their own order on sort of where their pre-order's at. So it's been really encouraging for the marketing team to have positive feedback from customers, but also other brands coming to us going, oh, do you mind if we do the same? We think it's a great idea. It's really good for their customers as well. So
that sort of customer transparency.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, awesome. If anybody does have any more questions, I will invite you to absolutely get in touch with Sophie and Luke via the Birchal profile. If you did miss any of the session today, we will be sending it through the recording so you can rewatch or send it on to anybody who might have missed it in case they've got any questions as well. We'll be opening the offer next week and you'll be able to view the offer document and ask any questions of the team then as well. And if you need anything at all, you can get in touch with me as well. Thank you so much, Sophie and Luke. I really, really appreciate having you on board today. It's been absolutely fantastic.
Lovely. Thanks so much for having us.
My pleasure. Thanks so much and have a great day.
You too.